what's gone happy? How are you doing, my friends? It has been a week over here. I'm in Portugal right now, which is on the struggle bus when it comes to the pandemic, to put it lightly. We've gone through a big lockdown, schools closing, many changes in the last week. And what I want to be talking about today, whether you are in the epicenter of a global pandemic or just dealing with some stuff in your personal life, whenever you might be watching this, is how do we deal with situations where we lose control. Maybe you feel like you don't have control to begin with anyway. I know a lot of people believe that, and it's kind of true. In situations like this or many other life circumstances that come up where outside circumstances are out of our control, things happen to us and they really disrupt the way that we live our day-to-day life. And it does not feel good, to say the least. We all deal with that in different ways. It bothers some of us more than others, but for everybody, it's helpful to have a couple of tools in your toolbox for how to cope with these kinds of situations, because inevitably they come up, whether it's, again, a pandemic or something not going the way that you want, someone passing away, a relationship changing, needing to move because of work or school, having a child and things not being as you had them in your head when you have this actual human in front of you. So many different options to choose from. So today we're going to be digging into 3 ways that you can shift your thinking when you are in a situation where outside circumstances are out of your control and you would like to regain a little bit of a sense of control. If you check out the blog that's linked in the description, I actually go through 10 of our cards from the Clarity deck that help you to shift the way that you're thinking about whatever situation you're finding yourself in. Because while you might not have control over the things around you and outside of you, you do have some control over what's going on in here. So at that blog, you can find 10 different ways. Today, in this video, we're gonna dig into 3. So let's get into it. All right, the first card that I picked for us is New Skin. Let me read it to you. How are you trying to crawl into an old version of this situation that no longer fits and is no longer relevant? What needs to happen to get you to fully inhabit the new version of this situation? So the reason that I picked this card is because I think one of the things that's hardest when we're in a situation that's out of our control is that we don't like it. We don't want this to be happening and we resist it. And one of the things that we try to do is go back to the way things were. The problem is things are not the way that they were. And when we do that, it causes frustration, it can be depressing, sad, and also expend valuable energy that we need for dealing with the present moment. It also takes any of the joy out of the present moment because we're constantly wishing it away, wishing that it was the way that it was before, wishing that we were the way that we were before, whatever it might be. So this card is asking us, how are you trying to kind of crawl back into an old version of this situation that no longer fits or might no longer be relevant? So I think a really important thing when we're in a new situation that perhaps we haven't chosen is for us to try to notice where we're resisting it. Because again, we're using our energy there and it's creating a lot of negative emotion in it, in resisting our situation. It doesn't mean we have to like what's going on at all. You might not. So we don't have to like it in order to accept that it's happening. We don't have to agree with it in order to accept that it's happening. And we don't have to have chosen it in order to accept that it's happening. You can still dislike it, not have chosen it, disagree with what's going on, but whether you like it or not, it's happening. The sooner that we can accept that it's happening, the more you can start to actually work with what's going on right in front of you. So that's what needs to happen to get you to fully inhabit the new version of this situation. Because another thing that can happen when we're in a new situation we haven't chosen and we want to keep going back is we keep doing things that worked in the past that don't work right now. I don't know when you're watching this video, but again, I'm speaking to you right now, my friend, from smack in the middle of a big lockdown during the February of 2021. May this be a time we look back in the past and say, whew, that was rough. So glad things are different now. But right now, this is here we are, right? And I know for me, I've been trying to do a lot of things the way that I did in the before times. Like I'm trying to meal plan, I'm trying to be with my kids, I'm trying to work in the same way that I was when I had childcare, when I could go outside, when I could see other people. I'm trying to have friendships and relationships. I'm trying to be in my marriage in the way that I was in the before times when all of these things aren't possible and we are in the apartment all the time together. So the sooner that I can stop trying to do things the way that I did them in the past past, accept that whether or not I like it, this is how things are right now, and really start to see it with fresh eyes and ask myself, given these circumstances and the way things are actually right now, what needs to happen in me to be able to fully inhabit this situation and to be present in this situation and find solutions that work for this situation, this version of the situation right now. Because using old tools in a new situation is just gonna lead to frustration and a big hot mess. So that's our first card, new skin. The second card that I chose for us is building off of that idea, and it's actually the artist card. I don't think I've shown this to you on this channel yet. Here's the artist. How could you be more creative here? What's keeping you from being more creative? How will you work with this blockage? So one of the things that this card makes me think about is when my family, my husband and I, we were getting married and we were living in New York City. And of course it's incredibly expensive there. And we were trying to find a place to live. We were really having a hard time finding some place to start this new chapter of our life. Somebody one day mentioned to us, what about moving to Philadelphia? And we were like, move to Philadelphia? Phila what? Who? Where? We don't know anybody there. We have jobs in New York. We're from here. Our families are here. Like, no, why would we move? But once the little idea was planted and we started exploring, we realized we had been tinkering with all of the other parts of our budget. We had been tinkering with all of the other parts of our life. Could we get a different job? Should we have a different neighborhood? Could we get a second job? Should we just spend less money on food? How can we, make the math work? It never occurred to us to tinker with that part of our life. The location, the actual city. It's like in a science experiment where you have some things that are constants and some things that are variables, things that don't change and the things that you tinker with. And I realized that I've been looking at our location as a constant when in fact, it should be a variable and something that could be tinkered with. And when we made that change and moved to Philadelphia, everything changed. Everything in our life all of a sudden shifted. New opportunities came. We changed. Everything was different. It started this entire new chapter of our lives together and of our family. That was such a great lesson to me. And I think about that in situations like the one that I know I'm in right now, and perhaps you are too if you're watching this, where there are a lot of things outside of my control right now that are happening. And it's tiring and exhausting to deal with that, to feel like you don't have control over what's going on with you and to just kind of try to muddle through each day. So I want to say with grace that this card can be difficult, right? And if you're already feeling depleted, it can be hard to have someone ask, well, how could you just be more creative right here and just come up with new solutions? You might want to say, I'm just trying to make it through the day. Thank you very much. But what I want to encourage you to think about with this card is, are there places in your life that you keep tinkering, things you keep going back to try to fix things to make them feel better? And are there other things in your life that maybe you don't even think about touching, but if perhaps you made a tweak in those, it would change everything. Or maybe just help things to feel a little bit lighter and better. Are there things that you could perhaps tinker with or approach with a fresh perspective or with a bit more creativity or just an open mind, seeing them like somebody else who's not you might see them from the outside? And perhaps those are places that you can make some changes to feel more in control, more at peace, more balanced, whatever it is you need right now to feel better. So that's the artist's card. The last card that I'm going to talk about today is the body card. What shift in how you carry or care for your body will help you to get what you want? Okay. Now, I want to really tread lightly or gently or lovingly on this topic because I know that control and bodies can be extremely delicate and difficult for folks. I don't want to create anything here that is triggering. If you have issues around food or your body that are related to control or loss of control, I just want to give some compassion and name that might also be something for you to really be mindful of if that's an issue that you deal with in your life and in your health and in your mental health and well-being, to not neglect how shifting the way that you're relating to your body, sensing into that, noticing, taking stock of what's going on with you in your body can be a really powerful first step for you to regain a sense of being in the driver's seat when the situation outside of you is out of your control. Just noticing any habits that are coming up, things that are clicking in. I know for me, an example is I have ulcerative colitis. I've had it since I was 12. It sucks. And it flares occurs when I'm really stressed, and it's flaring now in this situation. And so I'm having to think a lot about how can I care for my body and carry it differently through this moment, because whatever I was, again, doing in the past, it's not working right now, because now is different and my body is telling me that I'm stressed and that it's manifesting physically in ways that I need to change my habits around eating, sleeping, drinking, movement, everything. While I can't control that I'm currently in a lockdown with schools closed in the middle of a pandemic, I can change what I'm eating, drinking, when I'm going to sleep, how much water I have, how much movement I'm doing in a day. So what is that for you? It might be those things that I mentioned. It might even just be how you're talking about yourself to yourself, and relating to your body. Honestly, something as simple as moisturizing. I know there have been periods in my life where putting lotion on before going to sleep has been this time that I've spent with myself, of almost mothering myself or caring for myself, that has been just what I needed in those moments. It could even be that you have lost the ability to go outside or go work outside of the home. Perhaps getting dressed up and putting on clothes or putting on makeup or doing your hair is a way that you can shift how you're carrying your body that will make you feel more in control and better and more in the driver's seat. Like, all right, you know what? I'm not in control of what the rules are in terms of movement right now, but I am in control of how I am presenting myself and how I am adorning my body, and that is still something that I can do from the safety of my apartment. So perhaps that's what that is for you. What is, again, maybe this is an area that you don't often tinker with, or perhaps you only tinker with it in one way, of saying I should exercise more or changing your diet, or maybe there's another area of how you are both caring for and also carrying your body that you could make some shifts in right now to feel better. So those are the 3 cards that we're going to be going over in this video. Again, there's artist card, body card, new skin card. These are just 3 of the 10 that I go over in the blog post linked in the description. I hope that these have given you 3 different ways of thinking about whatever situation you find yourself in right now, finding a bit more peace, a bit more clarity, and a bit more of a sense of control in a situation where perhaps that's been taken away from you. So I hope you are well. Leave a note in the comments to let me know what your thoughts are and which of these 3 cards resonates with you the most, and how it's going to help you feel a little bit more in the driver's seat of your situation right now. Big hugs to you, friends. Talk to you soon. Bye. Bye.